Good morning and welcome to News Desk here on the Joy News channel. Coming up this hour, relief at last. Sickle cell patient needing bone marrow transplant to no longer have to travel abroad for medical attention as the Greater Accra Regional Hospital begins treatment for such patient here in Ghana. The medical director of the facility, Dr. Srofenyo, tells us more on this breakthrough in Ghana's healthcare delivery. Also, coming up in our living standards today, we'll tell you how a single mother of 4 is making ends meet from hawking sachet water on the street of Accra. And we'll tell you the story of some drug hawkers on public buses and the risk associated in patronizing their drugs, as well as what you need to be aware of as they woo you to patronize their services. Details of these and more, plus business and sports, all coming up in this hour. My name is Samuel Kojo. Remember, this is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. Stay with us for details. Now, persons suffering from sickle cell disease will no longer have to travel abroad to seek medical attention for bone marrow-related illnesses, particularly in children. This comes as a great relief to the hundreds of persons with the condition in Ghana. The Greater Accra Regional Hospital says it has upgraded its services to enable it to provide same services right at the Ridge facility here in Ghana. Medical director of the facility, Dr. Emmanuel Srofenyo, made the revelation in an exclusive interview with JoyNews.
I must say that it is one of the areas of innovation that we have engaged in. When children are born with sickle cell disease, the cells that are produced, which are sickle cell, are actually produced from the bone marrow of an individual. And so what this treatment modality does is to replace those cells in the bone marrow, which we call bone marrow transfusion, is to replace those sickle cells in the bone marrow with a donor cells, which are not sickle cell in nature, so that the child will now grow. As the child grows, the child will have good cells, which will not be sickle cell in nature. This is done to improve the outlook and improve the outlook of the child. I do know a number. So many children have been done from the West African coast. People come from all over Nigeria, Sierra Leone, within the country here, to a number of children came and they have undergone the treatment. Now we are taking this process even higher to a care process, which we call plasmapheresis process, where they can sieve your blood of any abnormal. We now have an equipment where you can sieve your blood of abnormal antigens and abnormal factors that can make you be the victim of some of these bad cells. And so now we have the equipment to do that. We also now, most recently, have acquired through a private-public partnership arrangement. These equipment do not directly belong to the hospital, but we realized the need, and then we went out there to seek companies who can provide those equipment so that we can provide the services to Ghanaians. So the last equipment that has been delivered to us most recently is what we call the stem cells equipment. So this equipment is used to extract stem cells from the individual that can help you cure certain chronic diseases, which before we say they are incurable. For example, we normally say kidney diseases are incurable, chronic kidney diseases, chronic liver diseases, or chronic brain diseases. We say all these diseases are incurable. But with this machine that we have now, all these diseases, we now have the system in place that we can cure all these diseases.
How different will it be from the one that you're able to sieve the blood? How different is it?
Yes, so there are also some other disease conditions. There are also some other disease conditions that are due to some abnormal antibodies or abnormal factors in the system of the person. If we find you, if the doctors find that is what you have, now we have that disease. So we even have a situation where people are transferred from Kolebu Teaching Hospital when they identify that they have that condition, so that they also benefit from that treatment. So your blood is taken, the blood in your system is taken through the machine. These abnormal cells or antibodies, for that matter, is removed, and then the blood is returned back to your body. So they connect your body to the machine. As your blood passes through the machine, those abnormal antibodies and rest are removed, and then the blood is returned to your system. And there is a machine that is able to do that.
So it looks like a dialysis machine then?
It is just like a dialysis process to remove those abnormal things from your blood. Yes.
Do you have a time limit after which a child that is suffering from sickle cell may not be able to take advantage of the system? Or
yeah, normally the focus is on the children. They are the ones that suffers untold hardship. The children are the ones that suffers untold hardship. So normally the focus is on them. I don't remember any adult coming for the treatment since they started. So it's mostly the children up to about 12 years. Yes, children up to 12 years.
How about the chronic liver, chronic kidney? Do we have an age limit after which probably?
This one has no age limit. Anybody who have those conditions, that one I told you that the machine has just been acquired and we are yet to start the clinics and then start the treatment. So there's no age limit, but the emphasis again will be on the young and the middle age, if somebody is already elderly. But that decision is for the family to take. Because the success rate is better if the person is relatively young. So I must say that the Rich Hospital, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, is really poised to take medicine to the next level in Ghana.
Now, still on health-related matters, I am sure you have encountered them. They are smooth talkers, always prepared to convince you that a small bottle of herbs can cure 1,000 ailments. They always have people on standby to give glowing testimonies. The Food and Drugs Authority has always masked public opinion against them, but the existence of several drug hawkers in every bus station proves they are not going anywhere. My colleague Elikem Akukumpe set out to understand the operation of these medicine hawkers and the threat they could pose to everyday Ghanaian.
If you frequent bars, terminals or marketplaces, you may have met 3 types of medicine hawkers. There's the enthusiastic hawker who is eager to show you how the medicine works. There's also the hawker who uses the Bible to convince you. And oh, the foreigner who cannot communicate in English or any other Ghanaian language but for what he sells.
Now all the thing where you go, because it be heba, inshallah, all without what get. The heba I come to from Niger, my country in Niger, inshallah. Register like how?
They may seem very different, but what they have in common is the sale of medicines they claim can cure a host of ailments. That's not all.
We will be my blessed day. Men go find a friend of Yagra, Afudesia Bella. 1 year, 2 years, where dear Sabema Vitality figure. Now, wait, year.
And there's more.
Answer my pressure. Dear Ubwa, I like the phone, don't venture grow.
Many medicine hawkers run their businesses in Ghanaian markets and bus terminals. The advantage is ready accessibility to the passerby or passenger.
You insult God. You say you love Him, but you are lying. If you take this drug, you will never fall sick. My father grew to 97 years.
You may be thinking, do people believe all they are saying? Do they patronize their services?
I have sold these drugs for more than 5 years. People really buy from me. They also send to their relatives abroad. I get random calls from Netherlands asking me to send more.
I asked Amsterdam, say, Globen was Holland. I'm saying, now I'm Mr. Problem. I don't need a pa. Now, Safa be sending me.
The products and services these medicine hawkers render to the public are increasingly becoming a worry to health professionals.
The main goal of medicine, again, is not just to make sure you are feeling better. It's to make sure you are feeling better with less side effects. You see, so we go beyond treating the cuckoo or treating the UTI. We have to make sure whatever you are taking is going to be in a specific dose and dosage that is safe for you to take, you know. So there is accountability in medicine. You have the right to ask if something is coming up. So we want to first enhance accountability to what they are doing there. And the way we can start mechanizing is that first, the truth is, the storage is a problem because every drug has a particular condition it's being stored. And that is very important because it affects what we call the bioavailability of the drug, how the drug will work.
A bread seller confirms that she was severely dehydrated after consuming a particular drug. But instead of recognizing the harm it could have caused, she rather testified of the potency of the drug.
I suffered severe constipation. I used to spend several minutes at the loo, but when I took this drug, I felt relieved to the point of severe diarrhea and dehydration. My son rushed me to the hospital, and I was told that I should have taken just one pill and not 3. The drug has made me very strong.
If the consequences are this dire, then what's FDA doing about it?
When it comes to the hawking of medicines here in Ghana, I am not aware of any institution that provides any form of license or approval for the sale of medicines in transport terminals by hawking. When people then decide to justify their trade by saying that it has been approved by Center for Plant Medicine and Research, what I want to say is that it still does not constitute a market authorization. One sure means by which you know that it has not been approved by FDA is at least the information on the package. There are times that you find them in different languages. If it's not in English or there is no parallel translation with it in the English language, that's a sure sign that it has not been approved by the FDA. Again, you look at the expiration date, the date of manufacture, and then the expiration date, and then also the batch number, because there are times where these products may have to be recalled, or you may have to make some complaints about it or something, and it's the batch number that will give the lead when you have to do any such reporting.
It's obvious. The greatest responsibility lies on you. Yes, you the individual, to take up the watchdog role and ensure what you consume is wholesome. Eli Kim Aku Kunkpe, Joy News, Accra.
We'll return to the story later on to have an interaction on it. But in the meantime, we head to the street where a single mother of 4 sells sachet water to make ends meet after her yam selling business crumbled in the heat of the economic crisis. Currently sleeping and working on the street, Angelina strives to get transport money back to the Ashanti region where her family is. But that hope seems to be dimming by the day. Mami Nyamiche Thompson engaged there for this episode of the Living Standard series.
Normal course already are any idea village near
Pure bottle water, Mamba Chomum. Pure water bottle water pure. Pure bottle water.
35-year-old Angelina Ajiman hawks on the streets of Accra to eke out a living. She has strategically picked a spot on the George Bush Highway where she weaves through traffic to sell sachet water to passengers. Like a predator targeting a prey, she waits patiently for the traffic light to turn red and then approaches potential customers in traffic. Angelina spends between 12 and 15 hours daily on the streets to achieve her weekly target of 100 cedis for her family in Kumasi.
Pure water and bottle and drink.
I sell pure water, bottle and drinks. These days, when they buy the pie, they don't pair it with a drink. Instead, buy pure water because there is no money in the system. So when the drinks get hot, we go and change and come.
My mother was shop pure water and bottle and drink. Me ya the beton. No, I continue the FE. None of me the top bottle water back. I made the 50 pesos.
Angelina first came to Accra in 2012 through the invitation of friends for a supposed better life. She ventured into selling fried yams and cleaning houses. Her business was booming until it could no longer hold under the pressures of recent economic crisis. With her savings depleted, she now sleeps on the street because of her inability to pay rent.
Baby, I made them popular. I be fear. I want a company to bring me na some upon. No cost security for no matter down. I'm matching my sorry.
Where to lay my head is very difficult. I beg the security men in front of my former house and sleep in front of the house until dawn.
I'm rent. And to security for
For the past 5 months, she has been toiling in traffic just to put food on the table for her family.
I used to wash and clean for people, but for the last 5 months, I have been by the roadside selling because the business did not survive.
5 months.
Angelina says the economy is constricting her. She hardly makes her weekly target of 100 cedis for her family due to low sales. She barely makes 40 cedis a day to cater for herself or send some back home. She appeared frustrated.
50 pesos and a medium drink is also 50 pesos. And to bedroom,
I get a profit of 50 pesos on the bottled water as well as the drink, but business has been slow today. Initially, I used to get 70 cedis a day, but now it has reduced to 35 or 40 cedis.
Her plans of going home to her village later this Christmas seems impossible. She's yet to save enough for transportation and goodies for her 4 children with her mother in Kumasi.
Accra is not like it used to be. We keep it together with prayer because it is hard. If I'm able to get money and go back to my village, I won't return. Bathing here is 1 cedi. Number 2 is 1 cedi 50 pesos. I spend 7 cedis largely on lunch or supper daily. It is a hard life in Accra.
I appear bottle energy drink.
Because they don't cry and fantasy. They find it 12 cedi. The way cry on profit in the grass.
Into 12 cedi,
30.
Obed Kojo, a sock hawker, will not reduce his prices no matter how hard I pushed. His defense is that suppliers had increased the rate of the bale of clothes astronomically. For a pair, he refuses to sell below 15 cedis.
They say no one is they say no man in our cost because Ukokruma almost a direct cost. I say at Ghana, you need dollar.
Oh, near man is no fun away.
You would bear with me that prices have shot up. When you go to town, everything is priced by the dollar. I get my items from Okaishi and Rollins Park. I commute from Kaswa to this place. From there to Accra is 10 cedis. From Accra to Shiashi is 5 cedis 50 pesos. And then from there to this place is 3 cedis. So you check.
5 cedis 50 pesos. Asana masafa 3 cedis asabisia.
For 4 years, vending socks helped put food on the table after his carpentry shop got demolished. But recently, he says business is bad.
Serious.
The rate at which they are increasing prices is hurting our businesses. The money is not even there to open a shop. Even when I get a shop, it will be demolished. So where do you pass? So now I am managing with the socks business.
Obed is considering relocating permanently to his hometown Ejiso if the economy does not recover soon.
We are praying that things will improve, otherwise we will relocate to the village. Sometimes going in search for better opportunities is good.
So that was Mami A.C. Thompson with the Living Standard series there. But let's return to our initial story about the hawking of medicine and speak to the PRO of the Traditional Medicine Council of the Ministry of Health, Numo Blafo III. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this. Now, this issue of people hawking medicine on public transport, the FDA has spoken against it, but it looks like this is not getting away anytime soon. How worried is the Ministry of Health on this, and what are the strategies to ensure that this is kept?
Okay, good morning, and the council's name is actually Traditional Medicine Practice Council.
Okay.
It's an agency of the Ministry of Health. What is there is these people who do the hawking of traditional or herbal medicine are normally licensed by the TMPC. But that notwithstanding, we cannot say that all of them are those who have actually been licensed to sell the products. So what we do is that, in fact, last 2 years, we engage the transport unions, especially at their various stations, those who operate with buses, because normally we find those people in buses, and they are very, very difficult to track. So we met with some of the unions to inform them that people who come on the buses to come and sell, there are certain things they should demand from them, especially a license from the Traditional Medicine Practice Council that allows them to operate that business. Those who are moving in town, especially those who in vehicles, most of them are also licensed. I will say that it's difficult to get all of them because there are those who normally actually come out once a week, especially on market days. And in fact, in areas where I would say on our blind side. But
when it comes to licensing, how do you collaborate with the FDA to ensure that if the Traditional Medicine Council is authorizing someone to sell medicines, the FDA is only, because the law gives them the mandate to then verify the set of drug and food that are on the market. What's the collaboration between you two to ensure that the right things are being done, the right people are being sent out there to sell medicines?
Okay. What there is, the FDA normally gives approval for those on the counter. That is, when you go to herbal shops, those that are labeled are on the counters for sale. They are those that the FDA normally have to approve before it comes out. In fact, that is the norm. When we give the license to the practitioners, they have their products, they take it to Mampong. That is the Center for Plant Medicine Research. Then from there, when it is approved, they then go to the FDA because of their shelf life and all that. FDA approves before it comes out. But then we have those herbal medicines or plant medicines which are not on shelf.
So am I getting the understanding that those medicines that are not on shelves are not supposed to go to the FDA for authorization? They have to be approved by you, the Traditional Medicine Practice Council. Is that it?
No, you are not getting me right.
Okay. So help me understand.
What I'm saying is that we have those medicines that are packaged, that have been manufactured. You understand? They have to go to the FDA. But those that come raw, like straight from the forest or whatever, you have the leaves, you have the herbs, the plant bark or the roots. Those ones do not go to the FDA.
Well,
but those that go into the herbal shops that are packaged. And
so that's basically what I was asking you. That are you saying that, for example, what you just explained, the mixture that is coming from the forest, that one doesn't need to go to the FDA. It has to come to you for you to give approval, and that's it.
No, we don't give approval to at all. We certify I would say the one who is trading in such products. Those are raw materials, and they have the knowledge about what the leaves do, what the tree barks do, what the roots do. So we certify them to do those kind of work. But then, when it is manufactured, that is when it goes to the FDA for approval. Okay. And even before it goes to the FDA.
Okay, that's fine. Let me understand this. Now, you're saying that your role is to certify the people who are selling it, right?
Yes.
Good. What about the medicines or the drug that they are peddling? What happens to them? Whose responsibility is to ensure that they are selling the right medications?
Yeah, so let us get it right. I'm saying that those that are manufactured are those that need approval from the FDA. But when it comes to raw, because these people have been dealing in such products for over a long time, we have people who recommend them before we even certify them. That is what they give out or what they sell to people are efficacious.
Okay, so for example, on our screens now, my reporter was in town and then someone was having a mixture. You are saying that, per the explanation, you have, for example, if this man has been licensed by you, he has been licensed. The product that he is pouring to my reporter there is something that, based on experience, he can go ahead and sell without the FDA giving approval to it. Is that it?
Yeah, then if you say it is a mixture, that is where we're looking at whether it was manufactured or, they can give you some roots or tree bark, pour maybe some alcoholic drink or just boil it and drink. Those are normal. Those don't go to the FDA. But if it is a manufactured product, then it has to be approved by the FDA. So normally, we always warn the public that when you are patronizing such products, you need to see the person's license or certificate in operating that business. You can't just go and then begin to just buy anything, at least for your own safety.
But is his license alone an assurance of the efficacy or safety of the medicine he is giving to the people? Is that alone enough?
That is what I'm saying, that if it is raw materials the person is selling, before we even license that person would have to be recommended by people in their part of town or village, wherever that person is operating from, that yes, he is in it, and this is what the person has been doing, and at least they can vouch for him. For that one, we give the license with the assumption that those who knew him or her have endorsed him or her, and therefore we don't have any much problem. But then, what we do is normally we go out and even see to the kind of operations they are in.
Okay.
And find out what they came to tell us that they are into is exactly what they are doing. Because we've even come across people who will be selling, although they come that they sell raw materials, we go in and then we find out they sell some capsules, and we even have the opportunity to check some of the capsules to see that they don't contain anything, but in fact, nothing with any medicinal product, properties. And those people normally we sanction when we get them.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful that you could join us. Noble Blaford III is a PRO for the Traditional Medicine Practice Council of the Ministry of Health. Now moving on to other stories. Construction work on the Wale Wale Township Road expansion project in the West Mamprasi municipal capital is said to have hit a snag, following a growing protest over the distribution of monies meant to compensate the affected resident for the destruction of their houses and other properties. The municipal chief executive and the chairman of the ruling party in Wale Wale have been accused of selectively sharing the compensation packages to only members of the NPP. The agitating residents have therefore served notice to withdraw their cooperation with the contractor and will henceforth resist any further construction work until they receive an equal share of the compensation. Elias Otanko has more.
6 months ago, the West Mamprasi Municipal Assembly carried out a demolition exercise across 4 neighborhoods in the municipal capital, Wale Wale. The exercise was to pave the way for the commencement of the second phase of the Wale Wale Township Road expansion project. The areas affected included Wale Wale Foni, Nayilifong, Kukwazugu, and Musifong, where dozens of houses, shops, and other properties of the residents were demolished. The municipal authorities have said a no compensation agreement had been reached with those residents whose properties were destroyed. However, as the contractor is ready to move to the site to begin work on the project, some of the victims of the demolition exercise are raising concerns as they accuse the municipal chief executive and the chairman of the MPP of engaging in secret and selective payment of compensation to people deemed as members of the MPP. This has led to a growing agitation by the victims who have been left out of the compensation package. They did not say why I was left out, but I suspect because they assume I am a member of the NDC. But this cannot make me an MPP member. I believe they only gave the money to their party members.
I
want to tell the MCU to come back and fix my property. I used to sell sachet water and others, and it was my only source of livelihood. We heard that some were giving huge sums of money, although we had almost all our houses destroyed. We are told that for every room that was destroyed, the compensation was 5,000 Ghana cedis, but we have received nothing. They made a selective payment. People who were not so much affected were rather given huge amounts of money. That is not fine, because during the demolition exercise, our assemblyman was there, but they left him out when they were distributing the compensation. The assemblyman for the area, Mohammed Shani, has condemned what he called a political decision by the MCE and the party chairman, and says he supports the decision of the victims who are vowing to resist any attempt to begin work on the project in the Foni area until they are also compensated by the assembly.
So I describe it as a partisan compensation, which is not the best. So they need to give everybody his or her share of the of the compensation. Other than that, I can't assure them that the people will allow them to do the construction of the road.
The MCA declined to comment on the claims of the victims, but the party chairman rejected the accusations in an interview with JoyNews.
All of them, from house 1 to house to the last house, we give everybody. There must be a room, sleeping room there. You understand? Every house has a sleeping room, and we give all of them. So if your room is there together with the MPP or NDC room, we cannot pull them down. Then we select MPP man and come and give him money, and we don't give you. It's not possible. So if you tell us that you are not going to accept anybody in, we don't want problem. They will take the road there then we'll go to the other area. If they understand, then we'll put it there.
From Wale Wale, Eliasu Tanko reporting for Joy News.
Now, customers of Electricity Company of Ghana in the Ashanti region have been queuing in a mad rush to purchase electricity credit after 4 days of ECG system interruption. Long queues of customers frantically searching for electricity credits are seen at various vendor stations in Kumasi. In a press release, the Electricity Company of Ghana says the company has encountered some technical challenges relating to its prepaid metering system in the Ashanti region. Nana Boache Dankwa Yiadom has more in this report.
Long queues of customers of ECG, some of whom have been without electricity for days in Kumasi. Some vendors and customers in the Ashanti region affected by the system interruption have not been able to sell or buy electricity for 4 days.
I have been searching for lights for about 4 days now, but I'm unable to get some. My room has been full of heat and it has destroyed my meal.
3 days near the light no adum. Me koto credit 100 cities on the first 3 days 3 days ago.
For 3 days now, I am unable to get access to prepaid. I just bought 100 cedis prepaid light, and just after 10 days it got finished. I have been roaming around. I just heard I can get access to light here at Tech Junction, so I had to rush and get access to
10 days. It turned on the first, on the 10th night. I almost promise you, say, Ebeba and Monday. And I pray on prayer. I just have a buy.
We have been promised a fault restoration on Monday, and it just came. I only tell my customers about what I am being told by the ECG. We have been able to restore it now.
And delay, and I say, like say, it's a coin. Q be anywhere, like, and then I started. Maybe I there, even say first to Q there. Sometimes I know, even so, baby, sometimes we go over 1,000.
Now, Appeals Court judge with oversight responsibility for the court-connected ADR program is advocating a review of CI 133 to make pre-trial mediation at the commercial court mandatory. According to Justice Angelina Mensah-Homia, such a review would further aid in the speedy and successful resolution of most commercial disputes out of the public eye. She made the remarks at the launch of the legal year terms ADR week in Sunyani. Precious Semevo has more.
The Alternative Dispute Resolution Week themed improving access to justice in a post-pandemic through the use of ADR is to afford the ADR Directorate of the Judicial Service the chance to engage and inform the public of the presence of ADR within the court system, its importance, and how to take advantage of the process to seek justice, especially the poor and vulnerable. It is also a period where pending cases could be resolved during the ADR week under the mass mediation exercise. At the launch of the ADR week in Sunyani, the Court of Appeal judge with oversight responsibility for the court-connected ADR program, Justice Angelina Mensah-Homia, said measures are being taken to make the program more accessible and sustainable.
We were able to achieve a 41% settlement rate during the last ADR week, irrespective of the COVID-19 that slowed down the processes. This is indeed very encouraging, and we intend to achieve a higher settlement rate in this post-pandemic era. Currently, the ADR program has been extended to 132 courts, with at least 5 mediators assigned to each of these courts. I think the latest addition is the St. also courts.
Now, Minority Leader Haruna Drisu is expected to lead a team of NDC MPs to testify against Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who they have moved a censure motion against. Other senior minority MPs who are expected to appear before the committee include Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak and spokesperson on finance Dr. Kaisel Atufosen. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin referred to the minority motion of censure to his evenly split committee of both NDC and NPP MPs to report to the House in 7 days. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us live with details. Kweku, as the committee began hearing, as we understand, there is total agreement to publicly sit.
So, Brace, the committee is expected to start sitting at 11 a.m. That is the indication we have. And if you go to the committee room now, it is fully set up for the 8-member committee to begin its work. Now, there's this consensus among both the NDC MPs on the committee as well as NPP MPs to beam this live. According to Adansia Sukwa MPKT Hammond, it is important that this is beamed worldwide, people to see the kind of transparency and the quality of work that the committee will be doing. It is the same sentiment that has been expressed by the North Tongue MP, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, who is a member of this committee, who agrees that this committee sitting should be public. And so the committee is unanimous. They are going to sit in the public view all testimonies, and unless there is some exigencies that will require them to take it in camera, every other thing the committee will be doing will be public. And so at 11 a.m. today, it is expected that when they start sitting, all that they will be doing live on major television networks in the country.
Now, do we have any idea when the finance minister, who is at the center of all of this, is expected to appear before the committee?
That is the puzzle now. It's unclear. What we are expecting the committee to do is to hear from the persons who are making the allegations. And so Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak, Dr. Kisela Tuforsen, who is the minority spokesperson on the finance committee, are expected to give their evidence as to why they think that the finance minister must lose his job and why the president should be forced to do so. The indication we are getting is that maybe some of these MPP MPs who also spoke out against the finance minister may make themselves available to testify before the committee. But that is a conversation that is ongoing between the leadership of both houses to be able to agree on something suitable. So when these persons make the allegations and they finish, then the committee can now extend an invitation to the finance minister. Already, our indication is that the finance minister has been made aware that this committee has started hearing. And so the finance minister may do so himself. He may appear before the committee and advance arguments in opposition to the arguments the minority leader and his team will be making, or he may choose to do so through a legal counsel or any other expert of his choice. Another option that may be available to him is that he may come with a lawyer, so he may answer some of the questions, and some of the other questions that he thinks may be legalese or may need expert information will be answered by the lawyer or that expert. And so it's expected that this will be done within this week. We know that a committee was given only 7 days by the speaker. From the parliamentary rules, this starts counting the very day the referral was made. That was last Thursday. It's been 2 days already. For last week, this is also the second day. So the committee ordinarily will be expected to wrap up this week, but they may also write to the speaker and seek an extension. The indication we are getting is that that is not likely. The committee is intending to work within these 7 days. So between now and Friday, the committee may conclude its work, present a report to the House as early as next week for that final crucial vote to be taken on Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. He had a clean bill. He was given a lifeline by the speaker because last week, despite the minority's insistence that the vote must take place, the speaker said this must go before a committee who must work and present their report to the House before a vote can now be taken. So as early as next week, the final vote will be taken. But it's also sketchy because next week is the week the 2023 budget is expected to be presented. So with all these hanging around the finance minister's neck, there are already those who are asking questions whether he is the one fit enough to present that 2023 budget. Already you've heard from some NPP backbenchers who say no, despite their agreement with the president, they do not agree that the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, should be the one to present the budget. So the president may decide to appoint any of his other ministers to do so on his behalf, or may finally decide to crack the whip on the finance minister so that another substantive replacement can be appointed, Brace.
I'm grateful. That's our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante. We'll keep an eye on this particular developing story. But we'll take a quick break here for business. Stay with us.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Players within the local pharmaceutical industry have indicated that the growth of the sector will be based on the scrapping of various nuisance taxes to reduce cost of operations. According to the Chief Executive for NK Pharma, Albert Kranting, the industry has potential. He adds government and stakeholders need to implement policies to cushion their operations. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the company.
Chief Executive of NK Pharma bemoaned the rate at which some local pharmaceutical industries are unable to ensure sustainability. He, however, commended government efforts in supporting the sector, but called for more.
Well, the pharma industry has potential, no doubt, except that I hear there are strange taxes within the regime, the African or the Ghanaian or within the ECOWAS community, which is not allowing people to expand. But apart from that, I think there's opportunity. This big opportunity is an industry which can create thousands of jobs. One of the things I think can be done is to stop importation. Okay, and produce locally. Once we are able to produce locally, my understanding in this market is that we are able to keep the little dollar we have internally, it stays within. So we should encourage people to produce locally. And I think that is the way to go. If we are able to produce, believe me, we will have lots of people, we will create jobs for people, we will be able to maintain very good lifestyle in terms of health-wise. So I think that there's still a big opportunity.
According to a survey data collected by Shrek Bagwati, for total expenditure on health accounted for 5 to 7% of total GDP, but there has been an increase in this spending and now it accounts for 11%, which is met by in-house tax collection and loans taken up from international financial institutions.
Now, the Office of the Registrar of Companies has stated that it will strongly ensure that companies abide by the corporate governance requirements captured in the Companies Act 2019. The ORC maintains this will compel companies to demonstrate high integrity and protect the interests of customers. Here's more.
Ntraqua & Co. and Corporate Law Institute, in collaboration with the Office of the Registrar of Companies, organized a meeting dubbed the Users Forum on the Companies Act 2019 to exchange ideas and discuss best approach to the application of the law, especially in the search for a common ground in relation to giving off notice and the filing of statutory returns. Speaking to Joy Business, Head of Client Service at the ORC, Matilda Osei, stated that strict adherence to the law is the way to protect companies from collapsing.
Corporate governance is essential because without corporate governance, you cannot manage a company. These are external people who bring in their expertise to come and help a company, i.e. the company auditors, the courts, they also help. Even with the Office of the Registrar, creditors, and other people that come together to make sure that the company stands on its feet, because if the company is not there, corporate governance wouldn't have a space. So corporate governance is important, and of course, if you want to comply with corporate governance, then there must be due diligence, because in everything you owe fiduciary relationship. So if you're in a company, you are a director, you are a company secretary, you have to make sure that you help the company to grow, and by helping the company to grow, you complete your quota, and you have to make sure that the things that you don't disclose, things that you have to disclose, you have to do that. In that sense, then it means corporate governance will be upheld.
On his part, the founder of Ntraqua & Co. Legal Practitioners and Consultants, Felix Ntraqua, said most companies are not aware of the rules of the Companies Act 2019.
It has multiple purposes. First, the application of the law should be common in the sense that all those who apply the law must be certain about the procedure. If there is a change in my company, for example, what must I do? Everybody should follow the same procedure, but it looks like when the law is made, applying it becomes something else. We had the experience with the old law, where the practice we developed was different from what was contemplated by the law. So the idea is to avoid that practice, a repetition of that practice. The other point is education. There are so many people who don't know what must be done. This is a way of creating that awareness. Mistakes are made by those who use the law and those who administer the law. So this is an idea that they can come together, discuss matters of common interest, and deal with problems. It is a form of teaching also for those who use the law.
The forum, which took place in Accra, attracted over 80 participants, which included lawyers, staff of ORC, accountants, business executives, company secretaries, consultants, among others.
That's Business. Sports comes up after this break.
Welcome back from the break. We'll be keeping an eye on the committee sitting investigating the allegations against the finance minister, and we'll bring details here on JoyNews, so do stay with us. But that's how we wrap up today's bulletin here on JoyNews. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Do have a pleasant morning.